8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hi, everyone. My name is Vinnie, and my usual co-host, David Wright, is not here today. He had to take care of some work-related stuff. So I'm just going to dive deeper into the real estate market, kind of give you some insight. If this is your first time joining us, please subscribe. Or first time joining me, please subscribe. Do these market updates Monday and Friday at 4 o'clock, and we kind of go over the San Diego market as a whole. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. We're kind of just dive into this. So as you've kind of seen, this is the market as a whole, San Diego market as a whole. You can kind of see from the breakdown. If this is the first time watching it, March 2nd was the kind of before all this kind of stuff happened with Corona, and we were at about 1,000 properties coming on the market. We slowly started seeing a dip in pricing around May timeframe, a little bit as properties, people were kind of scared of putting their properties on the market. What we slowly started seeing that kind of influx of new properties coming on the market. We've been kind of sitting steady around that 800, 900 mark of new properties in the market. The one really interesting thing is we did see a dip in sold properties. Okay, so when it first started going on, we were seeing about 600 or so properties selling on a weekly basis. As you kind of see, we saw this dip in pricing, and we at the lowest point we had 329 properties selling on a weekly basis. We've jumped back into that 600 mark that we saw before Corona, and usually around this time is one of our busier times of the year historically. So in the June timeframe. Also, too, we're kind of coming to that 214 off market. We did see a jump at the 294. 330. That's when Corona was originally happy. People were getting scared, didn't really know what was going on. Properties coming on the market, off the market, and actually changes to taking the property on the market and then putting it back on were kind of implemented slowly in the May timeframe. Now, what you're going to see is even more of a more drastic look of the market under the 700,000. I mean, 700,000 is more kind of arbitrary number, but that's really where the jumbo market really changes from jumbo and non-jumbo. So that's kind of why I use the 700,000 price point. And then as you can kind of see, we're fairly consistent with that 500, 400. We have seen a more of a recent dip in properties coming on the market at that 400 price point. The one interesting thing is we're still seeing a drastic jump into the sold properties. So we're at 400 before selling on a weekly basis, and now we're getting to the 372. I think a better way to look at the market is you're looking at about 70% of properties coming on the market. We're getting sold, 100 going to 67%, 74, now jumping up to that kind of 80%, and then also too, as we were talking before, with the off market. Now, one really interesting factor, if you're not familiar with the market, and that really hasn't kind of swayed you to see how the market in San Diego is going right now, is to look at active properties compared to pending properties. So as a whole, okay, San Diego as a whole, we finally saw a change in pending to active properties. So we have more properties under contract right now than we do have active on the market as a whole, okay? If you break that down from 3 million to 700,000, we still have more properties active compared to pending. But the real interesting thing is that $1,000 buffer from pending to active properties. So we have 1,877 properties, basically 1,900 properties active under 700,000. Yeah, we have 2,900 properties pending. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of where the market sits. Now, of course, these properties, like you saw from the last slide, can come off market, can cancel, go back on the market. And if hypothetically these properties were to sell, I mean, it gives you kind of a reference point of how fast properties are selling. In a balanced market, you want about 6 months of inventory. And so this puts us at less than a month. 3 weeks of inventory, somewhere around there. If not, close around there. So 6 months is a balanced market, and that's kind of where we currently sit. Yeah. Sorry for the slide. Let me get that out there. Another thing that's really changed the way the market is, and we'll see how this kind of progresses as we go forward. Before they were changing out, we weren't allowed coming soon properties. People were still doing that, didn't know the rules of how it was playing. So you see properties on coming soon on Zillow, Trulia, and those platforms where they'd hold them and have them as quote unquote pocket listings. Something that was recently changed is coming soon properties. So as a whole, if a listing agreement signed, right, before it was 48 hours has to go on the market, and you can have hold it from the market from a certain time as long as you submit it to the Sandicor or whatever platform you're part of for a real estate agent. Now it's required to actually has it coming soon on the MLS, and then it'll transition over to an active property. The coming soon property, that right there it's not syndicated to Zillow, Trulia, and all those other platforms. So some of these properties are as coming soon that only realtors or your dedicated realtor would have access to, compared to try to look on Zillow and Trulia. So right now there's 179 properties in San Diego County that are listed as coming soon properties. So not all of them are necessarily on Zillow, Trulia, and those kind of platforms. In the last week, from the last 7 days, we've had 97 new coming soon properties come on the market. So if you're not working with someone right now, maybe reach out to a realtor, see what coming soon properties are there. This right here is kind of a screenshot to give you kind of a reference point of what some of the coming soon properties that are available. If you have any questions about coming soon, about the market, about interest rates, where interest rates are still in the low 3s, high 2s. I just had a lender say they locked someone in at 2.35 for VA loan. Now, of course, everything fluctuates based off of your credit score, all that kind of stuff, and the full portfolio of your loan. Yet, if you haven't refied or if you're thinking about buying, talk to a lender, look them up. Right now is a great time. All-time low interest rates. This is a slide I haven't updated recently. It's still having it for May, yet still gives you an idea of where everything sits. If you kind of look at it, we're looking at, low 3s as a whole, and we've been sitting in the high 3s, the 4s, and if you go farther back, sitting in the 5s. So right now, if you haven't refied, if you haven't taken advantage of the interest rates, it's something to think about, and that's why we have so many properties pending, bringing it back to interest rates, because you're focusing on the monthly payment. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, 858-345-7829. I'd love to be that resource for you in San Diego County. Lastly, if you're looking for some kind of motivation with everything's going on, you're kind of down now, not feeling the greatest, also have a podcast called Road to Growth. It's all about entrepreneurs overcoming adversity. Take a listen, please subscribe, and tell your friends about this and about that platform. And I'd love to be a resource for you, and my team would love to help you out too. All right. Thank you, guys. We're under that 10 minutes. That's where we try to keep it every single window. All right. Have a good one. Bye, guys.